We're going to start with a light resistance band and do a chest opener here. So going from front to back with the band, deciding what width you need. So you can bring your hands a little bit closer for more resistance, more difficulty, but making sure to be gentle in that back part of the stretch where you're really working through that shoulder girdle. And then you can go one arm at a time, taking nice deep breaths, allowing that chest to open and the arms to get that full range. From here, you can drop the band. We're going into a nice deep fold, taking some deep breaths, really feeling the hamstrings and that low back. And when you're ready, you're going to sink the hips down into a nice low squat, pushing the knees apart, keeping those toes forward, and really working your way into the hips. Shifting one side and then the other. Hips are going to come back up, and we're going to turn to one side, really diving into the hamstrings of one leg and then the other leg. And then you're going to bring it to the center, and we'll walk out into a nice tall plank, really pushing the floor away here, nailing that plank position, strong shoulders. And we're going to bring one foot forward into a nice deep spider lunge, rocking back and forth a little bit to give you a little deeper of a stretch, and then turning that inside arm up toward the ceiling for a thoracic opener. From here, we're going to go back to the plank and turning into a stabilizer, lifting that top leg for a little challenge for your hips for stabilizing. And then we will switch. So swinging one leg forward, rocking back and forth, taking your time here, then turning that inside arm up, really reaching up nice and tall. Bringing it back down, sending that leg back, and you're going to stabilize on that other side, lifting that top leg, challenging the hips, and then bringing it back to center. We're going to go back to the other side, swinging it forward. From here, we're going to push the knee out a little bit more, so getting a nice deep stretch in the hip. It helps to put your hand on your foot while you use your elbow to nudge that knee laterally. And then turning up for that thoracic opener, hands back down, foot goes back into plank, and we're going to turn into that stabilizer with that leg extension. Bringing it back to center, doing the same on the other side, bringing that foot forward, taking your time, rocking back and forth, and then placing your hand on your foot and pushing that knee out laterally. And then turning that inside arm up toward the ceiling, really getting a nice rotation through your T-spine, bringing it back and then going back into plank. Lifting that top side and that top leg, nice stabilizing. Back to plank, and then we're going one more time around. This time we're going to sink a little bit deeper by trying to come down onto the elbow or elbows. Taking your time here, noodling around, and then coming up for that T-spine opener. Hand comes down. You'll go back into plank, turning into that stabilizer and lifting that top leg nice and strong. Bringing back to center and switching sides. Rocking back and forth, getting into that hip, and then dropping that inside elbow down toward the floor. Take your time. And then you're going to turn that inside arm up toward the ceiling, really getting a deep stretch through the hip flexors and the T-spine, sending that leg back and opening up into that stabilizer, lifting that top leg, really working to stabilize here. Bringing it back to the center, dropping it down onto your stomach, and we're going into long swim. So arms are going to go overhead, big reach, and then swim them around. Arms stay nice and long. They swim around to your hips, and then they scoop under your shoulders. You want to relax the glutes and the legs, really focusing on that upper back, big reach overhead, big swim all the way around. You're going to do this for about 8 repetitions. Taking your time, arms as long as you can get them. From here, you're going to put the hands under the shoulders and lift that plank. Walking the hands back to the feet, holding in that forward fold just for a second, and then dropping down into that nice low squat. Again, pushing those knees apart with the toes facing forward. Hips come back up, and you're going to walk the hands forward into a plank. And then you're going to walk the feet, keeping the legs as straight as you can, up towards your hands. Taking your time here, and then slowly coming up to a nice tall stand. We're going to do a knee hug, so pushing the floor away with a standing leg, and then letting go of that knee, keeping the knee tall, circling that leg around, and then going into a standing split. Take your time here, and then dropping that back leg so you're down into a nice low lunge. Arms come up, and then you're going to rotate over that front leg. So if the right leg is forward, you're turning to the right. Coming up nice and tall, switching legs, tight, tight knee hug. Then when you let go, try to keep the knee where it is. And then you're going to circle the leg around, diving down into that standing split. Really reaching for that leg, getting a nice deep stretch, and then dropping into that low lunge and turning into that rotation. Try to pull your arm around so you're getting a nice pull through your shoulder on the opposite side. So if the left leg is forward, you're going to be getting a stretch through the right shoulder. We'll go again here, circling the leg around, diving down into that standing split, and then dropping down nice and low and rotating at the top. Bringing everything up and together, pulling up that other knee. Super tight hug here, keeping the knee high as you let go, circling it around, reaching for the floor for that standing split. Take your time here, really challenge the distance between those legs, dropping that leg into a nice low lunge, and then pulling that arm around into a deep rotation. We're going to go one more time around. So coming up nice and tall, pulling up the knee, super tight hug. Keep that knee high, circle it around, reaching for the floor, raising that foot up high toward the ceiling, and then dropping it down into that low lunge, big reach, and then big rotation. Nice strong pull through that shoulder. Coming up tall and switching sides one last time here. Pulling that knee in nice and tight, keeping it high, circling it around, diving down with the hands, reaching up with the foot, and then reaching back for that low lunge. Arms come up high, and then pulling those shoulders around. Coming up nice and tall. We're going to do a big reach here, nice deep fold. Take your time, give it a couple of breaths. Placing the hands on the floor, jump back into a tall plank. Nail the position here, really pushing that floor away. And then you can drop the knees and sit back into a child's pose. Give it some deep breaths, really reaching forward with those arms. Nicely done.